Because if it was up to me, everything would be $1. Everything would cost $1. But hey, what do I know? All right. All Victoria Monet, no Kevin Hart. Welcome back to another episode of The Inside Perspective with your host, Aaliyah. We're here today to talk about finances. Something that, honestly, a lot of us aren't taught. I think a lot of us are taught how to spend money, but not a lot of us are taught how to keep money or how to let our money make money on its own. When we think about money, I feel like the most important thing for me, and I got my notes with me because we're going to stay on topic today. In order to talk about money, the first thing that we need to do is understand our relationship to money. This is why we put ourselves on Do Not Disturb when it's time to record. Okay, and I was saying, when we're considering our relationship to money, you have to think about what is your money mindset. Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you a combination of both? That's one part. The other part is, how do you feel about money? Does having a lot of money make you feel scared, intimidated? Something that my therapist really honed into me. What sensations does your body feel whenever you're thinking about this? And at the time, it wasn't directly related to money, but it's still something that can be applied here. Whenever you're thinking about money or you're thinking about your bills, your finances, your income, your expenses, what sensations come up in your body and where are they? The goal of that is to just figure out where you feel what and when you feel it. It doesn't mean that's going to give you a direct answer, but it will give you more background. It's like picking up them context clues, okay? We need to figure out what your current money mindset is and where we want it to go or grow, okay? One of the most important questions that I feel like I ask myself is, how do I want my money to work for me? Like, every time I thought about money before I shifted into this mindset, it was I either have to save this or I have to pick the cheapest option, or if I can't buy it twice, I can't get it at all. Which is not a bad idea to have, right? But you're asking yourselves that question to try to figure out, what do you want to be your priority? How do I want my money to work for me? So am I the type of person to where I'm dumping all my stuff into my savings? I'm maxing out my high yield savings account. I'm maxing out my Roth. Well, you can't really max out a high yield savings account. My bad. Am I maxing out my Roth? Am I maxing out my 401k? Like, these are just questions, and we'll get into what all that means in the first place, because I had no idea when people were talking about, I want a Roth IRA, Roth IRA. What does IRA stand for? I never knew until recently. And so one question that I want you to literally take a second to think of right now, and this will help you understand where your current money mindset is, right? If I were to give you $100,000, what's the first thing you're doing? Are you paying off debt? Are you going to go buy a TV? You about to go buy a pound? What do you know? A pound of what? That's your business. But I'm just saying, what are you going to spend that money on? Are you going to break it up into percentages? Are you going to think I have $100,000, 10% of it's going here, 30% of it's going here? What is the money mindset when it comes to your bread? What I'm going to do is break up the rest of finances into 4 different categories, right? So that's going to be budgeting, savings, expense versus income, and credit. Now, to start off with budgeting, it also will build off of whatever your money mindset is, right? So an example of budgeting that you can use is the 50-30-20 rule, right? And so that means 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and then 20% goes to your savings. And so if that's something that works for you, you could do that. I know that there's some people that once they pay all their bills, they take 80% of their funds that's left over and put it into their variations of savings accounts. and then literally live off of whatever they have left over. Like they paid their bills, they bought their groceries, they don't eat out, they're not going to Starbucks, they're not doing all that. Like it's literally just I bought what I bought, I have what I have, and this is what I'm gonna spend it on. And so at that point, that can look 60-40, that can look 70-30. It just really breaks down to what is your money mindset and how do you want your money to work for you. Um, so when you think about the needs category, those are all the things that are essentials. Like you gotta have. So your rent, your groceries, your bills, water, gas, electric, your car, gas for your car. If you want to nestle all your needs into that, I don't do it that way because for me it's just like really confusing. And whenever I just see a large amount of money in a specific account, I think I can spend it, not realizing that it's already dedicated to specific things. But I feel as though you have to figure out what works for you. Me, I have like almost 9 different accounts, and I have one spending account, and then I have bill accounts, I have loan accounts, I have car accounts. Like, because for me, as soon as I get paid, it pulls like all my stuff's on automatic. I don't go and type in nothing to pay a bill at all. Everything is completely automatic. And so when I get paid, it pulls out from my main account. And I have 2 different banks too. I have a spending account bank, and then I have a bill account bank. Just keep walking with me. And so when I get paid, now with me having 2 jobs, that also counts with the other one. But let's stay on track. So I get paid, it's gonna pull X amount of money and go into my loan account. That's gonna pay for my student loans. X amount of money gets pulled out into my car account. My car and my insurance both get paid from that account. And then I have a house account because I got my own credit. And then I have a house account because everything that goes into what my house needs. And so for me, that's where my rent and groceries come from specifically. And then I have my car account. My loan, my auto loan, Jesus Lord. The auto loan, my insurance, and gas for my car all comes out of that specific account. And so for me, I was able, after a couple months of spending, I was able to see, okay, how much do I spend on gas? How much do I spend on groceries? How much am I going to need to take out of this big account and put and funnel into these smaller accounts? And so then at that point, whenever it's time for things to get paid, they're coming directly out of that account. I don't have to look at my account and be like, oh, well, 500 of that is about to come out because I got rent, gas, groceries, whatever. So let me subtract that. Like, no, I don't have the time for that. I need to see exactly how much money I got in this account and then what I'm going to do to move that shit forward. Make it shake, right? So that's what works best for me. I have literally, pretty sure, like 9 total accounts. Because it just makes more sense for me to be like, okay, big account, pull this, drop this here, drop this here, drop this here. Now in my mind, when I look at my needs account, that's my money to do what I need to do with my needs. And the other thing, soon as I get paid, first thing I do is pay myself. So whatever set amount that I'm feeling that month immediately goes into my savings account, my high yield savings account. We're going to get into savings next, like as soon as I get done talking about all these different accounts I got. But for me, again, it just makes the most sense. Why am I going to stress myself out? And I feel like this is why a lot of us are overspending, because we don't know exactly how much money is in our accounts and what it's already dedicated to. Them subscriptions will be, man, you'll be sitting there chilling and all of a sudden Spotify want to take that fucking 1134 out your account and you don't even realize it, So I got paid. This is what needs to be paid. This is what I want, and this is what I need to save. That's the mindset that I have. I don't do it the 50-30-20 rule though. I just know how much money that I want in specific accounts in terms of my savings. And I even have a vacation fund. And I have a fun fund. That's what I call it, a fun fund. But it's also my vacation fund. So I'm also pulling money out monthly, if not weekly, of just putting in that account, because whenever I decide that I want to go on vacation, I don't want to sit there and think oh, I got to save up 3 months of these next few checks so I can go to Singapore. No, I actually already got almost $1,500 in this account because I've been saving for the past 6 months. And so now whenever I'm up and ready to go, I can just go. I like to think when it comes to my finances, it's for my future self. I take care of everything in my home, right? So if I know that my needs is already met for the month, for that check for that specific month, my needs are met, then that means that I got some play money. But again, that doesn't mean that I automatically go and drop, X amount of money doing whatever that I'm doing. I decide that I'm like, okay, I do want this new toy though, right? I wanted a new mic. So I was like, hey, all my bills is taken care of. I got groceries. My tank is full. I got a little extra bread. I can go ahead and spoil myself in that moment, right? The other thing that you can think of is once my needs and my wants are taken care of, well, first off, the savings should have already been taken care of, but that's just what I'm about to talk about next because you pay yourself first. Always remember that. You pay yourself first. I don't care if it's $25 that you take out of your account whenever your shit hit. Put that in a savings account. And there's two types of savings accounts that you should have, quite frankly. You should have an emergency savings account and then a high yield savings account. The emergency savings account is to help you if shit ever hits the fan, like you lose your job or you get into a medical emergency. It is said that you should have up to 3 months of your essential expenses already saved in this account. Now, you have to have a plan for that though. And it's almost the same idea that I did for my vacation fund. Like I'm gonna pull X amount of money out every month, every week, and put in this account to make sure that I'm cool whenever I'm ready. But there's a way in which you do that, right? I'm not gonna sit here and keep filling up my vacation account, but I don't have anything in my emergency savings. What's your money mindset? What's the priority? I gotta make sure that I'm cool no matter what, because if I go on vacation, I come back and I can't afford my rent, then what? Exactly. Exactly. So, what you need to do is make sure that your needs are taken care of, your savings is built up. Then you can start focusing on your wants and your vacations. That's my mindset. Yours can be different, but don't set yourself up for failure, okay? And so, again, you have the emergency savings account that has up to 3 months of your essential expenses already in there. You're going to have to create a plan in order to get that savings to that specific spot. Two, the next thing you should have is your high yield savings account. I encourage high yield savings accounts because if you're going to have your money sitting with a bank, the least you could do is make sure that you're getting a high return on it. Don't just have no regular old savings account and you making quite literal pennies every year. Get you a high yield savings account that has like a 3.9, 4.1. I've even seen 4.3 APY. Is that the word I'm looking for? We're still getting terms and definitions down. I got the premise though. But you want something that has like a higher return because then you can be making like depending upon how much is in the account, of course, $3-4 a month on your money instead of like 30 cents. Get you a high yield savings account. There's several of them. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding finances. I'm giving y'all a lot of the buzzwords to go and do your own research. I don't make your money. You make your money. So you're gonna have to figure out how you want to make your money work for you. And another thing is, you're still allowed to have fun with your money. Like that's why it's the 50-30-20 rule works for a lot of people because they know that 50% of their check is going towards rent, grocery, car, gas, whatever. And then their wants is going towards, I'm going outside, I'm getting drinks with friends, or I'm going putt-putt, like whatever it may be. Like, you can still have that fun. I'm not saying you have to completely remove that. Like, you can't have all work and no play. The goal is to be mindful of what your money mindset is because then all right, if I know ultimately I'm still trying to save XYZ by this specific amount of time, then I can't go out every Saturday. I can't do the activity every week that some of my other people around me might be doing because I know that I want to have 20 or 200 Jesus worth. I know that I want to have $2,000 in my emergency savings by the end of, next month so that I'll be prepared for if anything were to happen. I already know I'm taken care of. Those are some of the things that you're going to have to sacrifice and be mindful of. Like, the club ain't going nowhere. It's really not. And so if you take the time to just save up your bread, I promise you, you'll enjoy the club so much more because you're financially set. You're financially settled in what your plan is and what you're doing, so that, when you go out to the club, you can spend 30, 40, $50, and it's not going to affect nothing, because one, you also been saving up that money in order to do so, because your wants account is starting to look a little fluffy because you've already taken care of your needs and your savings. Money can be fun once you learn how to use it. I just got to the point to where I was like understanding finally where my money mindset was. I was definitely overspending a lot. My credit card would look crazy. And it wasn't until at one point I sat down and I decided to see how much that I spent in payments. How much of my check am I paying towards this credit card? And once I seen that shit, it was like, I don't even make that much a month. Like, how am I spending this much money a month on this credit card? And I'm like, what am I buying? Like, so it completely made me like slow down and look at what I'm spending my money on. And that is going to bring us into our next section. My nose is so clogged, I can't even pronounce words correctly. And I'm not even sick anymore. And that's what's making me mad, because I felt like I've gotten over my sickness. I'm not coughing that much. It really just feels like there's like plugs in the back of my nose that's like picking which nostril it wants to close whenever I start talking. But excuse me, hold on, y'all. The best part about budgeting, no, the best part about having your bills on auto pay is it's going to help you form a budget. Because if you already know that out this specific account, you paying your rent, your utilities, and your groceries, you're not gonna be too willing to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going out to the mall, or to the whatever, to the club, whatever it may be, and dropping, X amount of bread, and then you're like, well, damn, how am I gonna pay for my insurance now? So now you borrowing money from different pots. Like, that's not fun. That is anxiety inducing. You can hold out, or whenever you do go out, you ain't gotta spend no money. Or think like this, right? You go to the club, you get 2 drinks, that's damn near already $30. Go to the liquor store, get you a bottle, pregame, put the bottle in your trunk whenever you get to wherever you're going. If you're outside the club, go ahead and chug half that bottle. Well, only if you can do that. Not everybody's built like that. But think about, like, make your money work for you. If you need to go step out the club, act like you need to go smoke a cigarette. They let them niggas in and out the club all the time. Go smoke your swag, actually go to your car, go take 3 shots. Go back in there. You can still have your fun, but at a much different rate. And guess what? Then you still gonna have some of that bottle for the next day or the next weekend. And so now you're getting your $30 not to stretch for 2 hours, but for 2 weekends. And you can apply that logic to anything. Anything. In a way, you can call it, I don't want to call it girl math, because if anything, it's just math. It's life math. Let's call it life math. Because let's say you want to go eat out, right? You already know your bread looking a little until you get paid. You don't want to cook anything that's already in your fridge, because that's real. I have food in my fridge right now. I didn't want to eat it. Sometimes you don't want to cook what's in your fridge, okay? And so you're going to want to order something out. If you're going to order something out, at least make sure that it's enough food that it's either going to be your lunch, your dinner, and your lunch tomorrow. So now you had one meal that you might have spent $25, $30 on, maybe even 40, depending upon you. My lady loved to get her a dessert and everything that come with it. So anytime she order out, it's going to be at minimum $45, $50. And so not only is this going to last for your current meal, see if it could drag out for a day or two. At that point, that's a good investment. That's a good investment, because not only are you just feeding yourself for now, you're also feeding yourself for tomorrow. Your income versus your expenses. You cannot spend more than you make. If you know that you only make $2,500 a month, Why are you spending 3 racks a month? You're always going to be in debt. You're always going to be in debt. You're spending more than you make. Stop doing that shit. It's pissing me off. I see a lot of us doing it. Stop spending more than you make. If you can't afford it now, be patient and afford it in 2 months. You'll like it so much better. You'll enjoy it, whatever it is, so much better when you can genuinely afford it. Finances to me are directly impacted to your mental health because there's a lot of spending habits that we may have that's based off of, oh, I'm not feeling that great and I need to go get a pick me up, so I'm going to go shopping. As long as you have your account and your budget and you follow it, nothing wrong with it. But if you have no budget, no idea, you're just in there swiping or in there Apple paying it up, you're going to end up spending more than you make. And then you're going to put yourself in a predicament. And you're going to have to dig yourself out of a hole. Why do that when you could have been patient? Patience. Your patience is what's going to either sink you or my brain says it's going to sink you or it's going to tank you. It's like both of those going down. That's not what I meant. It's either going to sink you or it's going to fly you, sail you. Sink, sail. Sink or sail you. SAIL. Sail. Okay? We talked about savings. All right? And we also went into income and expenses. And so to continue a bit more off of income versus expenses, you have to track what you're spending your money on. There's a few different ways you could do this. It is tedious and it is a lot. But once you do it and you see what you're spending your money on, you'll be able to cut certain habits out. Do you need to go to Starbucks every day? Do you need to go to Dunkin' every day? Or could you buy yourself a Keurig and spend less money? You think about this, right? These Starbucks drinks are about $5 to $7. So let's say you spend $5 a day, 5 days a week. That's $25. Let's say you're doing that all month. That's $25 a week. So that's $100 a month. You multiply that by 12. You're spending $1,200 a month on your tea, your coffee, your drink, whatever. If you can afford that, then that works, right? Like if you got the bread to make that shake, you got the bread to spend $1,200 a year on your tea or your coffee for the morning, do it. That's not the problem. But if you know that you can cut that spending in half and apply that money somewhere else, imagine if you could be putting $600 into that high yield savings account. Imagine if you could put $100 a month into that high yield savings account and what that's going to look like at the end of the year. Your money mindset will help you decide, am I cool with continuing to spend this for Starbucks, making Starbucks rich, or can I put this in my savings account and start making me rich? One of the apps that you can use in order to track your spending, there's something called Money Coach. That's been really helpful for me. It is, or it can be subscription based if you want to have like multiple accounts. I have 9, so I needed more in order to track that. It'll give you a breakdown of what you're spending it on. You can categorize it. You can go and literally pull directly. Like if I wanted to see specifically how many times that I go to the gas station and get Swedish fish, that's may or may not be my kryptonite. One, that doesn't mean that I just have to stop eating Swedish fish. It means how can I use my money smarter? Do I go to Sam's Club and get that thing in bulk and start putting it in little baggies that I can take that with me? Is it just about shifting or changing how you're using your money for whatever it is that you're using it for? That's the goal. Some shit you are going to have to cut off cold turkey. You're just going to have to. Other things, you can make it work. You can definitely make it work. Another resource that you can use, it's actually on Google Sheets. It's a monthly budget. This one's a little bit more different because I feel like I used this at first in order to monitor what my spending was. I didn't necessarily use it as a budget. You can, and it already has all the cells and everything auto populated, and already has the formulas and stuff behind it. So whenever you put it in your expense, it automatically auto populates into the other form that says like, oh, you spent this much this month on this. But yeah, Google Sheets has one, and then ultimately, if it comes down to it, create your own Excel form or your Google Sheets, whatever that is. Label it on the day that you're spending that money, where you're spending it, and what account that is coming from. You have to know where your money is going in order for it to work for you. You have to. All right. So the next thing is honestly something that I learned fairly recently. Like honestly, I think either last month or 2 months ago. I've had this book by FinancialLiy. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But she's called The Budgetnista, and the book is called Made Whole, and it's a practical guide into like finding your budget and making your money work for you. And each chapter literally is a breakdown of just like it's funny, she literally starts with mindset too. So yeah, your mindset, building your budget, saving, getting out of debt, working on your credit, increasing your income, retirement and wealth, investing, which is literally what we're about to talk about, understanding your insurance, increasing your net worth. So your net worth is basically your income and your liabilities. So your credit card, your loans, and all of those are considered liabilities. And then leaving a legacy. So like estate planning. So what are you leaving to your family? What are you leaving for your family, if anything at all? And so this book really helped me understand what a Roth IRA was, what a 401k is, what a 403b is. These are all different forms of retirement accounts. So Roth IRA, which IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. Roth is named after some senator or some dude that came up with it. So they just called it Roth IRA. And there's many forms of this, but I'm just focusing on Roth IRAs, 401ks, and 403bs. So these are retirement accounts. So money that you can use once you're past the age of 59 and a half. Why they made that shit so specific, but after 59 and a half years old, you'll be able to access this money. My brain is thinking about many things right now because there's also so there's similarities and differences between a 401k and a Roth. A Roth is like I said, you're individual. So you can go out right now literally and go open a Roth IRA account, and you can put in a specific amount of money per year, and it's pre-taxed. So this is money that's coming out before taxes hit. Okay. And I hope let me go back and make sure that I'm explaining that right, because I know for certain that for a 401k that is absolutely pre-tax money. And it's helpful because when it's through your job, whenever it's time for taxes and everything, say you got $5,000 in this 401k. If you make 50K a year, you're not getting taxed on the 50K. You're getting taxed on the $45,000 that you made annually. So that's like a positive of the 401k. But let me get into this book. Hold on, y'all. Oh yeah, I was right. So they both So both are pre-tax contributions. So you don't pay money that you put into a 401k or into a traditional IRA. You do have the option though, if you're working for a company and maybe now you're an entrepreneur or your next company just isn't matching your 401k, because that's another thing with your 401k, your employer will match whatever you're putting into it. So it's basically like getting free bread for whenever you retire. And so if you go to your next company and you're not happy with their 401k, you can roll that over into a Roth IRA, and then you can continue making money based off that. What I come to find out is that I thought it was just, they're taking money from my account, and then my employer's matching it, and then that's just growing over time the same way a high yield savings account does. Um, it's somewhat of the same idea, but it's not that entirely. Um, when you have a Roth IRA, basically you have a choice of where this investment is going. So for a 401k, this is something that you get from your employer, and then it is a menu set of investment options. Like, they just are like, you go to TGI Fridays, it's like, all right, here, this is what you get. You go to Chili's, all right, here, this is what you get. That's basically what it's like having a 401k and using that money that you're putting in and your employer's matching, and then it's in an investment account. But again, it's set off of a menu of options for those investments accounts. Now, for your Roth IRA, you can put that investment anywhere you want. Like, it's literally up to your choice. You don't have to only go by the set menu that you would if it was through an employer. What is this actually? Okay, and so now I want to go deeper into the choices of investments you get with having a Roth IRA account. Okay, and this can get this can get a little confusing, and I'm gonna try my best to explain it the best way that I understand it. But then, if not, of course, we can always go deeper, and I can post a reel or something about it. Okay, so the different types of investment are: you can have stocks and bonds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, or index funds. Right. So to start off, investments are, every time you're investing into a stock or a bond, but they're made up of different things. So a mutual fund are stocks and bonds, but you're buying stocks with other people, and so that's why they call it a mutual fund. Then there's exchange traded funds. This is basically a mutual fund plus stocks. And then the last one is the index funds. So this is a group of stocks. So these are stocks that are invested in a group of specific companies. And so that's why they call it an index, because it is made up of a specific group of different companies. But this is a very diverse investment, right? So if you are deciding that you just want to, let's just say that you want to invest in stocks that are only in technology. If some shit happens and everything tanks, you're going to lose all your money. But if you're in an index fund and it's a group of all these different companies that are spanning across different types of areas in the world, health, technology, cars, oil, whatever, gold, all those things. If it's spread out more than if gold tanks at one point, but you're still good in health and technology, you're gonna see, of course, like, it's gonna balance out, but it's not gonna tank you. And so this is also based off. So these companies follow specific indexes, and I hope I'm explaining that right. These companies follow specific indexes, and so it's the S&P 500. You might have heard that before. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, or I always pronounce this one wrong. Nasdaq. 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 Nasdaq Composite. um, I also have an investment account, and my investment account follows the S&P 500, and so it follows a specific group of companies that also look at stocks and bonds, stocks mostly, stocks and bonds, but stocks mostly, and that can be international or national bonds that you're focused on. Just think, the more widespread and diverse that your portfolio is, the less chance of, if something tanks, that it's taking all your money with it. Now, investment accounts, at least doing your research is something that I really, really, really encourage, because you have to understand what you're doing and where your money's going. This is things that are still new to me, and so what I felt most comfortable was going the index fund route, because I know it's going to be across several different companies, several different industries, and if something happens to one thing, it's not going to tank everything. And then if it is starting to knock at a few of them, then I know I can just withdraw those funds. At one point, I was going back and forth of if I wanted a Roth IRA or an investment account. I knew that I wanted to be able to see a return on this money in the next 10, 15 years. And so it wouldn't be smart of me to get a Roth IRA account because I would then be penalized for pulling that money out before I hit 59 and a half years old. And at that point, they're going to tax the hell out you. Like, it ain't no cute little 1-2. It's like up in the 20s. They're going to tax the hell out you if you're trying to pull money out that retirement account, because it's built for retirement. It's not built for you to have it in like the 5, 10 years. So that's why I went with the index fund investment account, because I knew that I can still funnel money into this monthly, because I'm in a financial place now to where I can start working on my investments and building that wealth that way, using my money to work for me. My brain literally just stopped working. I have no idea what I was just talking about. Oh, ADHD! My God, I looked at literally the fork and plate sitting on my desk and literally just lost everything. But thankfully I have my notes. That's literally why I have my notes here, because my brain just. Um. The next thing that we're going to talk about is credit cards and credit in general. I was literally just watching this video on TikTok of this woman actually breaking down what your credit is, and if I can find it, I'm gonna repost it on the Inside Perspective page on TikTok, because she was saying how almost like 60% of credit is built off of just your credit, your payment history. So if you're consistent, and then if you miss one payment, it'll tank you so much that it'll take 11 consecutive on-time payments, monthly on-time payments, in order for you to build that score back up. And credit's interesting, especially with loans and stuff, because it's like you can't pay it off too fast, because then it'll still tank your score. But then if you take too long or if you miss any payments, it's also going to tank your score. So you have to find like this happy medium balance of like what that looks like. And so now all of us have loans, student loans. I do. So that's something that I do monthly, pay monthly. That is just making my credit score soar. Which is why I have its own account that's on its auto pay. Also, some of your accounts that are on auto pay, they will give you a discount on your shit because you have it on auto pay. Like, that shit is hooked up to my routing and account number. We're not even talking about no card. Like, take the money take the money. And for me, I don't see it as like, oh, I'm losing out on money. That's money I can have. No, that is I chose to get an investment on my education. And this is me paying back on that investment. Now, is this some bullshit because Biden was supposed to forgive it? That's not my business right now. Ultimately, I need to make sure that my shit is getting paid for so that my credit stays high, and that my debt to income ratio doesn't get too crazy, because when it's time for me to do a lot of exciting things that I have planned for myself for the future, the bank needs to know that they can trust me with that amount of money. That's all I'm really worried about. So, now, when it comes to credit cards, though, you have to understand, I feel like a few of the most important things is what your APR is on that credit card, so that if you happen to have some funds left over, you pay a minimum balance, but they still want to tax you. Credit cards be up 22. I think my credit card has almost had like 24% APR. I don't miss not a goddamn payment. They never gonna be able to charge me for the money that I decided to spend. No, I'm paying it off. My thing is, use the credit card, always have the cash. Use the bank's money first. If you use the bank money, especially if your credit card has any type of points or cash back or whatever it may be, use that benefit, but apply that cash immediately. Like, if you can't pay for it within like the next 30 days, you can't afford it. But again, there's ebbs and flows to it. It isn't always black and white. With money, there is black and white, but there's also a lot of gray. Um, if you know that you have a plan to pay that money back, then go for it. If you don't have no plan and you just out here spending shit like, yeah, it's $1,000, but I only got 200 in my account now, but I'll have 15 next month, but you still got bills and everything that you got to pay for, you're not going to be able to take that whole $1,000 and put it on a credit card because you still need to exist that month. Because then if you do that, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But that's just like an idea, an example. So knowing what that APR is, when is the open and closing date of your credit card? So all of my expenses between November 1st and November 30th aren't due until December 30th. So whatever you spend in that month is not due at the end of that month. It's due at the end of the next month. And so some people's closing dates and opening dates are the 15th and the 15th. So then you may owe whatever you need to owe by the 15th, 16th, 17th, whatever. You still need to understand what that open and closing is so that whenever you're applying payments on time, and that if it's something that you're doing that's more like direct deposit or they're pulling it out, make sure that you're sending that money in enough time that it's hitting the account before the due date. Because they'll still try to charge you. Because they're like, oh yeah, the money was on the way, but it wasn't in your account, so we're just going to charge you anyway, and you're going to owe us this money. The bank does not care. The bank is a business. And the business is trying to hold on to your money or make you have to spend more of it. Tell me it's not. Tell me it's not. So yeah, APR, open closing date, and then using it to your benefit. Use your credit card to your benefit. Don't use it just to spend money. Have to be mindful of your financial decisions. And quite frankly, I'm still getting like the hang of things when it comes to finances. I only got a second job because I figured why not for funsies, but it also really helped me catch up on a lot of financial mistakes that I had made when it came to my spending and it came to my credit card. My credit card was looking stupid at one point, almost sitting at 3 racks, and I was like, "Girl, what are you doing, bro? Like you're spending more than you make." Yeah, it's great to see all the fun stuff that you have around you, but it's not fun anymore whenever you're trying to figure out like, oh, I can't go hang out this month because I gotta finish paying off my credit card. It comes back to picking your hard. So I was literally talking about in the last episode. You have to figure out, do you want to be hurt by the discipline of, okay, I can't go out now, but if I save for the next month, month and a half, almost 2 months, that third month I can go out and I can have a great fucking time? Or do you want to be hurt by your dumbass decisions? It's really your pick. It's up to you. Like either way you going, like the day's gonna happen and the day's gonna end. So it's up to you on how you decide that day is going to go for you. Are you gonna make a decision for your future self, or are you gonna make a selfish decision for your current self? Think fast. Actually, no. Think calmly. Think calmly about it. And that's why I asked the question in the very beginning when it came to money mindset. What sensations do you feel in your body? What thoughts come up for you in your mind, in your body, whenever you're understanding your finances or you're thinking about your finances, you're thinking about your bread? Like, what's coming up for you? So, if there's anything that you took from this, I want it to be this, quite frankly. You should have between 5 and 7 accounts. Walk with me. You should have between 5 and 7 accounts. The first one should be your spending account. Another one should be your long-term savings. That's that high-yield savings account. The third one should be your emergency savings. Something happens or your job just fucking sucks and you need a break. You got 3 months. Next one is a loan account. So if you got a car loan, if you have student loans, whatever type of fucking loan you got, have a specific account set up for that. Put that bitch on auto pay and make sure you got the right amount of money in there for them to snatch that money out every month, because then that's going to help your credit go up. Pay your loans, pay your bills, pay back your investments. That's what they are. You invested into whatever this loan is, it was an investment. Unless you did the PPP loans, then you was fraud. Nevertheless, there's that. The next account you're going to have is a house account. Oh, house account, my bad. So you're gonna have a house account. This is for your rent, your groceries, updates, repairs. Y'all know I moved out, so I got my own spot. I wanted to build up my new office space, and so I saved up for over a couple of months. I mean, a couple of weeks. I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks. But a desk, a monitor, um, in my kitchen. I wanted new appliances. I wanted all this stuff. So I priced out what all those things will cost and gave myself a range of a budget of what I was willing to spend. And then I always save up to the highest amount that I have planned. I don't, if I know that I wanted to spend, $30 to $60 on like a Ninja for like smoothies and stuff, I'm going to save that 60. I'm not going to save the 30 because I know ultimately I can spend up to $60, but it doesn't mean I have to. But at least I already have that put away. Yep. Um, Next one is that retirement account we were just talking about when it comes to our Roth IRA or 401k. 401k is for profit. A 403b is for nonprofit. May have those flipped or switched, but that's the difference between a 401k and a 403b. Um, when you have your retirement account, already have that shit being taken out your check. Sometimes it's between like 1 to 10%. 10 is higher, and if it's anything higher than that, it's pretty rare. But I think for me, mine is like 4% for one, and then 1% for another. For me, I know I don't want to work long. I don't. I would love to be retired by 40, 45. I'm not working past the age of 50. I refuse. Damn near, quite frankly, I refuse to work past the age of 40. But I'm going to be realistic, and I'm going to trust God and keep doing the things that God wants me to do. Well, ultimately, I know I don't want to be working until my later years of my life, the second half of my life. I'm trying to be chilling and traveling. Hopefully, I got some babies, and then my babies won't have babies. And that's what I'm concerned with. And so your retirement account, and then that last one could be optional. It really depends on where you're at in your financial journey, but an investment account. You want to do stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange trade funds? Pretty sure. Exchange traded funds, or index fund. Do your research, figure out which one that you want to do, and start letting your money make money. If you got $25,000 sitting in a savings account, take 5 racks of that and put it into an investment account. And make sure that 20 racks that you got is at least in a high yield savings account. And continue to educate yourself. This book here has made me feel so much more calm and confident in reaching my financial goals. Because now I'm genuinely understanding what it means to understand money and how to let your money work for you. These rich ass white people or these rich ass people, they not working 3-4 jobs and saving and doing all this. No. They get a small loan of $1 million and they move that money around and make it work for them. And they learn money. They understand money, or they're taught how to let their money work for them. My next thing to start learning about is tax write-offs. Because if I don't have to be paying for stuff, especially like I have a business, and I can use a lot of this as a tax write-off, get a part of an LLC. I know a lot of y'all have LLCs. Start understanding how you can make that work for you, your money work for you. Stop letting life just fuck you up and start fucking life up instead. Like, go after it, understand it, learn more about it. Don't hide from it, don't run from it. Seek to understand so that you can allow your money to work for you. But I just want to go back over my notes again. Literally, one of the things I have in here, it's not about how much you make, but about how much you keep. If you make $100,000 a month, but you spend 97, the fuck is the point? Yeah, honestly, I want to do a whole episode on investments because I kind of gleamed over that fairly quickly. But I still did break down essentially what investments are and investment accounts, at least for retirement, are. But there's so much more to learn. Y'all remember them Forex niggas that used to be like, come join my group, come join my group? That was a pyramid scheme. But the foreign exchange market is real. So yeah, we definitely gonna do more information about investments because I've watched the market. I've kind of learned the market. I'm not trading in the market yet, live at least, because that's a different ball game. So yeah, we definitely can have some more conversation about that. If you do have any other further questions or something that you want me to expand more on, definitely reach out to me. Either comment on Instagram, DM me on Instagram, or send me an email at theinsideperspective1@gmail.com. So that is THEINSIDEPER. Now I'm struggling. PERSPECTIVE1@gmail.com. So thank you for joining another episode of the Inside Perspective. We're gonna continue. I want to say listen, learn, and grow, but I feel like I'm still in that from Jay Shetty. But I mean, he kind of on the right track. We're gonna listen, we're gonna learn, we're gonna grow. So yeah, until next time, friends, think about your bread and think about how you want your money to work for you. And don't keep letting the idea of what somebody else is doing and how they're doing it put you in debt or put you in just a lack. We don't want to be in lack. We want to be in abundance.